So the Ravens signed their brand new coach. They went with the Lou Anarumo route, where they just hired a defense coordinator and made him their coach. So you might say, who is Jesse Minter? Well, Jesse Minter has always been a defensive guy. Okay? He was a defensive guy for the Chargers the last 2 seasons. He was in, what's it called? He was in Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, and then he went ahead and transitioned to the NFL with the Chargers. So when, obviously, Jim went to the NFL, he brought this guy with him. Now, don't get me wrong. He's still a great defensive mind. And if you watch the Chargers this year, they were a good unit. I don't think they were anything special or anything crazy insane. But, you know, they were something. They existed in the universe that is. They existed. I mean, I just made a video. As I was making a video, this broke. So I had to make this video. Anyway, yeah, he was defense coordinator. He was on the Ravens as the defensive assistant / defensive backs coach for 3 or 4 seasons. Nothing special there. He's also very young. He's only 43 years old. Going to be 43 years old. So he's a very young guy. Defensive coordinator at Georgia State, Indiana State, Cincinnati. He actually graduated from Cincinnati. He was a defensive intern at Notre Dame. So go Fighting Irish. It's my college. And yeah, there's really nothing he's ever done crazy, in all honesty. Now, don't get me wrong, he has led really good defenses, right? And you got to give him credit there, right? Credit's where credit's due here. This is a great defensive mind you're bringing in. But you're not really bringing in a guy who has a track record of, one, being a leader, meaning like as a head coaching position. I'm sure he's been a leader at, you know, his defensive back / defense coordinator job. But he's not a guy who you're bringing in and, you know, who's been a long time successful coach at different levels. You're bringing a guy who, again, I said Lou Anarumo route because that's kind of what this is. You're bringing in a defensive guy who was a coordinator but never became a head coach. And maybe he'll be successful as a head coach, right? I hope he's not, right? Because obviously, you know, we don't want you guys to be successful, but Cincinnati here, we gotta figure things out and get things checked up and, you know, in order. Now, don't get me wrong, we have Zach Taylor, so I mean, we're talking right now when we have Zach Taylor, right? This guy's way better than Zach Taylor. He's 1,000 times better than Zach Taylor. But that's beside the point. Like, anything's better than Zach Taylor. But still, like, going John Harbaugh and then going this guy is absolutely insane. Because how is this going to stop Lamar Jackson from choking in the playoffs? You got a defensive-minded guy. You fired your OC. How is that going to fix Lamar Jackson? And if this guy's a defensive-minded guy, how is the relationship that was so sour between John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, how is it going to be any better with Jesse Minter, who, again, is a defensive guy? This looks to me like they just went out there and picked up someone who was already on their like coaching staff at one point, and they said, hey, Jim Harbaugh, who obviously is Sean's brother, you know, there is some familiarity right there. This guy already coached for them. You know, this guy has already had that connections with Baltimore. Why not just bring him in as a head coach? But the problem with that is it doesn't usually work that way, and it's not very successful when you do that. When you just try to make the guy that, you know, hey, this is a safe person to go with, doesn't usually always work out. So I'm all for it. I'm all for this because they could have went, again, like I said before, many different routes, and they could have been very successful with the different routes they went. There's a lot of great coaches still available. They could have went with Sean McDermott, and that would have literally destroyed me. If they got Sean McDermott, I would have been destroyed mentally. They could have somehow, some way got Mike Tomlin through a trade and backdoor system. I don't know. They could have done something like that as well, and that would have destroyed me. They could have gotten a really good head coach, but they went the safe route. And when you go the safe route, you sometimes deal with the consequences that the safe route is not what you want it to be. So, still got to worry about Pittsburgh and Cleveland. as I was saying, we still got to worry about Pittsburgh when it comes to getting their head coach. Listen, I think Cleveland's going to hire someone who's stupid and doesn't know what they're doing. It's the Brownies. What do you expect to happen, right? But for Pittsburgh, I think that they're actually going to get someone decently okay. And if they, mess this up and bumble this up again, this could be a really big change for the AFC North for the foreseeable future. Again, that with us actually taking advantage of this, which so far we have done little to zero to do that, right? So we have to take this as a blessing and move in the correct directions. And again, this offseason, very, very important offseason, so that we can actually get this crap together and hopefully everything works out. That's what I'll say in the end. But again, everything is take it a day at a time and hopefully everything gets figured out. But could have been worse. Could have been worse. They could have went with a worse coach in this. So I wish they did, but they didn't. It is what it is. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, guys. Also, shout out to all the members of the channel. They will be down below in the description. Also, if you'd like to become a member today, $5. Click it's $5 a month. Click down below on the little join icon. You do get custom. You get added to all my descriptions, and you also get added. You get custom emotes. And also, I'm going to be adding all my members of this channel to all my channels. So every description on all my channels, if you're a member in this channel, you'll be on every single channel. So just a little side note. See you guys in the next one.